I've gone over 470 plus days on NoFap and even cured my corn induced ED, and now I help men get there in half the time. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about 5 things that you need to put in place if you actually want to beat lust forever. Now, number 1, understand it's management, not one time. And this was a crazy concept I was thinking about because, of course, people tend to think that once you find a solution and put something in place that you're good forever. And you can almost equate this and think of it as an example is something like money and someone being in debt. And for example, how does someone get out of debt, right? They get better with their money management. They're able to pay off their debt so that they can actually be financially free. And what happens? Do we say that they beat debt? Not really. A lot of times what we end up saying is that people that they were able to climb their way out of the debt, they were able to pay off their debt, and now they're in a better financial position. But can they still fall back into debt? Absolutely. And that is no different with this. And of course, the corn and all of that, right? It's the thing here is you have to manage things, right? And it's not just going to be the click of a button and you're always going to be on point. You're never going to relapse ever. It's not realistic, right? What you need to do is keep yourself in check, right? So you have to do the small things that have helped you be successful, helped you get to one day clean, 7, 30, 60, right? And those small things, when you let up on the gas, I can guarantee you a relapse is probably not too far around the corner, right? So you got to think of it like money. It's debt, and you got to manage it so you can get yourself out the gutter and be in a positive place, right? And this is how you reach that freedom long term. Take inventory of your life and your situation. Number 2, manage the inputs. Now we're talking about management a lot, right? And what do you actually have to manage? Because now you know, number 1, that you have to keep things in place. But what do we have to look at? We have to look at your overall lifestyle. So what does that include, right? Socializing, your friends, the people you keep around you, right? That's a huge one. Number 2, your diet, what you even eat, right? The type of foods, are you eating junk food or are you eating nutritious foods, right? Because what you put in is what you put out, right? So don't think that you're going to be able to put in some junk food and then all of a sudden you're going to have insane willpower to go, the 30-day mark, no fap, 60, 90, all those things, right? It's not realistic. How does your phone, scrolling on your phone, right? So all of these inputs, you have to be careful and really take inventory of your own life and really how you just set up your entire life, right? And the more you pump your brain with the junk, the cheap dopamine, as a lot of people like to call it, the worse results you're going to get. It's as simple as that. And obviously what that happens and that makes you into is a weaker version of yourself. And if you're watching this, I know that you want to reach your full potential. So don't lie to yourself. Don't let yourself down. You have the ability to get that success that you want to. You just have to put in the work. It's not going to be given to you. And of course, man, we got to talk about mindless scrolling. That's another huge one. You got to be careful on the phone, especially, right? You got dating apps, you got social media, you have all these other things that are called super stimuli that just spark the amount of dopamine that's in your brain times 100. So you have to be careful. Be very careful. Take inventory. Don't let things just ride along without you actually paying attention to what's going on, right? And urges, right, are just that. It's an urge. You don't have to act on these things, right? They will pass. But once you have that environment, once you have the lifestyle and these small inputs in place, it's only a matter of time before you do get to that success that you actually want to reach. Number 3, shape your environment for success. I always mention the easiest thing for you to do is what you want is to make it as easy as possible for you to win. How do you do that, right? You look at your entire environment, and we talked about the phone, but in general, we got to always talk about willpower. It eventually gets broken down and gets even worse depending on your environment, right? So someone's sitting in a room, and let's say they're trying to lose weight, and in this room, what do they have? They have cookies, they have brownies, and it's on the shelf. It's right next to them. When they go to sleep, it's right next to them. What do you expect is going to happen? they're probably going to have a crazy amount of temptation to go for those things. And what's going to happen? They're probably not going to lose the weight. They're going to be back on the junk food, addicted to the sugar, just like you probably are. But what you need to do is look at your environment, right? How can I set this up to make it as easy as possible to win? Maybe that's not keeping electronics in the room, right? Maybe that's not keeping the tissues, right? Or the lotion, whatever it is, right in your room. So it makes it that much more difficult, because what you really want to do is increase the amount of friction that happens when you're trying to get rid of a habit. So you want to increase the friction, which means what? Make it as difficult as possible for you to continue in that habit. And you want to reduce the friction of what you actually want. So let's say you want to lose weight. Man, put a treadmill in your room, right? Have some weights in your room. Have something in your room. You want an aesthetic body, right? Have something in your room so that you're decreasing the friction for you to go to the gym, because now you can just work out right from home, and you're increasing the friction of the bad habits because you changed your environment. So again, take inventory, but the physical environment, do not downplay it at all. It definitely will be important. And of course, man, the phone, the apps, right? Be careful what you end up looking at, and design your environment so that it is as easy as possible for you to win. Now, I've built an entire course outlining the step-by-step foundation that allowed me to do those 470 plus days and even cure my own corn-induced ED sexual dysfunction. Now, if you're interested, click the link down below to learn more. Now, number 4, install routines that leave no gaps. Lust thrives in an environment with idle time, right? And what happens is, if you have a lot of idle time, I'm telling you right now, 9 times out of 10, you're going to relapse, right? Because having so much free time, a lot of times you end up making the wrong decisions, right? When you're bored, your brain tends to go right back to those old habits that you did have in the past. So you really want to have strong routines as well, right? Things like working out, reading, right? Reading's good for your brain. Socializing with others. And I always say, man, and you probably have even noticed it too, when you socialize with other people, when you're around more people, what happens? It feels like lust is probably not even an issue, right? A lot of times it feels like you don't even have any problems because you're around these people, and you're around people that are obviously, it's beneficial to your brain and to how you perceive the world and see things around you. So it's important to definitely get around more people, stay social, and try to schedule into your weekly routines, daily routines, because man, when you have these pieces in place, it will make it that much easier. Instead of just trying to willpower and act like you're such a strong dude, man, why don't you make it easy on yourself and actually put a plan in place that helps you to be successful? Because trust me, lust will creep in otherwise. Number 5, stop treating lust as it's harmless, right? So obviously in culture, in today's society, people have normalized this, right? You go even to something like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, all of these things, what are they doing? They're trying to capitalize off of your attention. And how do they do that? They do that, especially by men, by knowing how men's brains are wired. And what they're going to do is going to show you anything that's going to keep you on the platform longest. And what's one of the easiest ways someone can do that, right? It's showing you certain images, lust, right? Women, all of these different things that would make you want to go ahead and stay on the platform longer. Whatever is going to give you that crazy amount of dopamine. And we know exactly what it is, right? It's the same reason why you go on IG, you go on these social media platforms, and then it triggers you to want to go, to Safari, to the browser. You end up relapsing and you're back to day one. So be careful, right? Don't think it's harmless. And just because it's normalized does not mean it's okay. You got to understand that we live in a capitalistic society where people are going to do anything for money, and that includes ruining your life and capitalizing off of your pain that you do have, right? So check yourself before you mess everything up, right? And once you stop seeing these things as harmless, and you really start treating it like what it is, and for most people it is poison, you'll start to make some progress. Now, if you want to learn more, you're interested about learning more about this topic, click this video on the screen. You won't be disappointed.